Hello everyone, welcome you back for the session on the silicon based MEMS process. Now here first of all, going in depth with respect to what we can say the silicon based MEMS process. The MEMS devices were first developed by means of the silicon wafer because of the easy availability and also mature in the process technologies. As you know that the silicon is actually comes from the what we can say the sand or the silicon sand. It consists of the three general forms. The first one is the single crystal silicon, the second one is a polycrystalline silicon, and the third one is nothing but the amorphous silicon. In a single crystalline silicon, the materials, the crystal lattice is regularly organized throughout the entire bulk and distributed uniformly. Now here in the sketch A, that it is representing what we can say a single crystal silicon. Now here the what we can say the single crystal silicon is often encountered in three cases. The first one is nothing but a single crystalline silicon wafer grown from a high temperature. The second one is nothing but epitaxially grown by means of a silicon thin film method. The third method is nothing but the single crystal silicon obtained from the recrystallization, or it may be a polycrystalline or the amorphous silicon by a global or by local heat treatment. See, these are the three different methods by which what we can say the growth on the wafer, it can be done very easily. Now here in this case, the first thing what we are discussing is with respect to the silicon based MEMS process. Now as we know that the polycrystalline silicon material, which is also called as polysilicon, or it's also called as a poly-C, is made up of a multiple crystalline domain, that is which is represented in the figure B, where the grain boundaries are there. But here even with respect to the orientation is also in different directions. With each individual domain, the crystal lattice is regularly aligned. However, the crystal orientation different in the neighboring domain. The polysilicon materials can be grown at low pressure chemical vapor deposition method, or by means of a recrystallization amorphous of the silicon through a global or by means of local heat treatment. The next topic what we are discussing is with respect to the amorphous silicon. The amorphous silicon is other hand exhibits a non-crystalline regularity. As you know that the state of the silicon, it is in the amorphous. The amorphous silicon films can be deposited by a chemical vapor deposition method at low temperatures. Due to the low temperatures, the atoms do not have enough vibrational energy to align themselves in a correct manner, or it can be incorporated properly into the solid. The amorphous silicon can be grown using the what we can say the low pressure chemical vapor deposition method. Now here as we know that the temperature it matters. The amorphous silicon can also be formed by the plasma enhancement in chemical vapor deposition method, and as well as. Now in the next topic what we are discussing is with respect to the micro machining, and also the surface micro machining. Now as you know that the machining is a process or the technique which has been adopted, that too especially on the what we can say the silicon substrate. The bulk machining process involves selectively a removal of the bulk the silicon substrate material in order to form a certain three-dimensional features on a mechanical element, either such as the beams or it may be the membranes. The bulk micro machining may be combined with the wafer bonding to create a even more complex three-dimensional structures. The process involves a two wafer and a bottom wafer is etched to form a cavity, whereas the top wafer is used as a mask membrane, is used for making a membrane, and the description for each steps is as shown in the figure. Now here in this case it consists of the what we can say A to L steps. The top layer is nothing but a wafer which is over which a silicon bonding it has to be done. Now there are two different layers here. One is nothing but a top layer, the another one is a bottom layer. On the top layer the wafer deposition is done. On the bottom layer what we can say the silicon dioxide is laid and a groove has been cut. This is a sequential procedure in which what we can say a cavity is formed on the wafer. Now the schematic diagram shows the A2 which is having a somewhere around 14 different steps, in which it starts from A and it ends to the L. The first step is nothing but the bare silicon wafer. The top layer it should be covered with a bare silicon wafer. To create a desired cavity shape, the wafer must be a certain crystallographic orientation. The wafer is cleaned thoroughly to remove a large particles or dirt particles, or it may be a invisible organic residues, combined with a mechanical wash, or it may be the oxidizing acid bath may be used by rinsing and ultra pure water. In the case of the next step, where the cleaning it will be done at high temperatures. Now even the cleaning of the wafer, that is at high temperature, that is especially in the case of the furnace, it is filled with the oxygen gases or the vapors that it has to be removed. The oxygen atoms present in the air are dissociated from the water molecules will react with the silicon to form a protective silicon dioxide thin film. The third step is nothing but the wafer is removed from the furnace and it is cooled to a room temperature. Now it is very clean. Now because of the what we can say the organic molecules would have been decomposed at high temperature in the oxidization step, the layer of the thin film photoresist is deposited on the front surface of the wafer. In the step D, the photoresist is exposed to the mask with a high energy radiations. Here the photoresist material is subjected to either it may be a ultraviolet rays, or it may be electron beams, or it may be X-ray beams, depending upon the type of the applications. Now after the what we can say the entire wafer is then placed inside the developing solution, which is called as a developer, that it is removes the loosely bonded photosensitive polymers. In the step E, the photoresist needs to be baked again. At this time what we can say the higher temperatures and often for a longer duration than that of the soft bake. Why this one it is made? Because the hard bake is to be formed and the removes the remaining solvents and makes a photoresist that remains on the wafer, sticks to the wafer even at the stronger. Now in the step F, the photoresist using the organic solvents, etchants such as the acetones are used and the etching is done. The hard baked photoresist is chemically resistant to what we can say the HF etchants, but not to the acetone. The organic solvents does not etch the oxide on the silicon. In the step G, the silicon wafers is immersed in a wet silicon etchant which does not attach the silicon oxide. In the further process, in the step H, the wafer at the end stage is tilted to provide what we can say a clear view through which the wafer cavity has been formed. Then in the second silicon wafer is firmly bonded to the front side of the bottom wafer process through the step G. It is important that the environment in which the wafer is processed be very clean, because of the tiny particles adhering to the bonded surface on the either wafer will prevent a good bond strength from the being etched. See here in the next step, which is nothing but the J, the bonded on the top wafer is thinned by using a mechanical polishing or by means of a chemical etching. The remaining thickness of the top wafer determines the thickness of the membrane. The thin membrane are desired and it can have a high sensitivity. In the last step, where the strain sensors are then made on the prepared membrane. Now the thin film layer is deposited and as well as pattern. This it can be used for the further application. The areas of the silicon wafer hits directly by means of a energetic dopant ion will becomes the doped and forms a piezo resistor which changes its resistance upon the applied stresses due to the membrane bending under the pressure differences.